Hello, ladies. I want to double check that I am, in fact, live in the group. Give me just 1 second here. Awesome. Love when a good plan comes together. Thank you so much for joining me this evening to talk about exercise in menopause. I'm going to give everybody just a couple seconds here to jump on. I know that 7 o'clock at night Eastern Standard Time can be a little bit of a challenge depending on when you get home from work and kind of what's going on in the evening. So I'm going to give you just a minute or so here to kind of jump on. So, how's everybody doing tonight? So nice to get together and share information with you. I know a lot of people are excited to talk about exercise and kind of what that looks like. So super excited to share this information with you. Looks like we have a few people jumping on, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. I want to make sure that I honor your time and make sure that I am efficient with all of that. So again, welcome. I am Jennifer Gilliland. For those of you that are new, we have a lot of new members lately. So thanks so much for joining this community and for being such an active part of it, so that we can share great information and support one another in this menopause time of life. So whether you are in premenopause or perimenopause, menopause or postmenopause, welcome to the party. So let's go ahead and jump in. So we're going to talk about how to maximize exercise after 40. So I'm assuming that most of us are over 40. There might be some 30-year-olds in the group. I know sometimes menopause can jump in a little bit sooner than that 40-year-old mark. Typically, menopause happens around 50, but that doesn't mean that it can't happen a little bit sooner. So there's certainly the possibility that, there's some of us that are in that 40-year age range, 50, 60, and beyond. So wanted to talk a little bit about the exercise and how we can never skip a workout again, right? So there's a lot of people that are talking about, how do I incorporate it? I don't really have time. Gosh, there's so much going on. I don't really feel like it. I don't have the energy for it. And there's just a whole bunch of reasons why we don't necessarily incorporate exercise. So hopefully we're going to break some things down tonight for you so that you can, in fact, get exercise worked in on a very consistent basis. So I hear a lot that people are tired. And so one of the things that exercise can really do for us is to actually increase our energy. So we want to really think about, how do I incorporate it more so that I can have more energy, not incorporate it less. And we really have to think about it, right? So it has to be an intentional a thing that we do, and it has to be committed. So we really want to make sure that we're making it a part of our day and not just sort of an afterthought. And sometimes that sort of happens. So how is everyone doing tonight? If you are here catching me live, I would love to have you do hashtag live. If you're catching me on a replay or recording, hashtag replay. And of course, I love to know where everyone's from. So if you wouldn't mind dropping that in the comments, that would be fantastic. Just love seeing how far our reach is across the country, because I know we have some people joining us from all over. We actually had in Ohio, we had a lot of rain today. I came home and there were a lot of trees down. So I hope everybody's staying safe and everybody's good, has some electricity. Maybe that's part of the problem tonight, why people are maybe not jumping on and maybe going to catch the replay. There might be some downed trees and no electricity. So hopefully everybody's safe and in a good place. All right. So who is this training for? So I really like to make sure that I'm talking to you. I know you are giving up your some of your evening and giving me your time. I want to make sure that I'm very clear about what I am providing and who I want to really talk to this evening, which is each and every one of you. But sometimes I think people get like, oh, I'm not in this part of menopause, or I'm in postmenopause, or I had a hysterectomy, or whatever the case might be. And really, ladies, there's a lot of similarities amongst us when we're talking about all these hormone shifts that happen, right? So we don't have to be in any certain stage of menopause. There's just so many different ways that we experience menopause, that we want to make sure that we're mindful of the fact that there's a lot of similarities, a lot of uniqueness, 100%. So everybody's not going to have the same plan, the same history, that kind of thing. But we do share a lot of commonalities. So hello from Kansas. Oh, I love it. Hopefully you are having a great day in Kansas. Thanks so much for jumping on. Indiana, love it. Thanks so much for being here. So, when we talk about who is this training for, so you may be brand new to menopause. This may be kind of like, what in the world's going on with my body? Don't really understand it. Like I don't even know. Like some people didn't ever talk about menopause with their family. So even though there's other females in the family, they may not have been in a situation where it was really discussed. So some people are feeling like this is completely unexpected, had no idea what I was getting myself into, and here I am. I know I had somebody in the group comment this week, can we just avoid it? Unfortunately, that's not necessarily an option. And when we are female and have hormones, we are definitely going to experience menopause in one way or another. I think sometimes we assume we're going to get certain things like hot flashes, and that's not necessarily the case. Sometimes we don't. And so we want to be, mindful of what our body is going through, because even in our family, if we have a lot of people that are experiencing the same symptoms, that doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to do the same thing. So if you are brand new to menopause, drop a 1 in the chat so I know that who I'm speaking to this evening. If you are not new to menopause, but things have been going sort of okay, and you're like, been in menopause or premenopause for a while, haven't really felt much, but now all of a sudden things are starting to shift for you. And so you are starting to experience some of those symptoms. Drop a 2 in the chat if that describes you. And number 3, if you are been in menopause for a very long time, maybe you're in postmenopause, or maybe you've just been in that menopause stage for a long time, drop a 3 in the chat if that is you. So when I talk about menopause, just to kind of clarify that for you, perimenopause is the time when things sort of start to shift, right? You start to recognize that your period isn't as consistent as maybe it was. Maybe you're not getting sort of the same physical symptoms or emotional symptoms that happen in relation to your periods. Maybe you just notice that things are sort of, up and down a little bit more. And then menopause itself is 12 months of no period. So you could have an experience where you haven't had a period. Maybe you were regular like clockwork. I know for myself, I was 28 every 28 days. And then all of a sudden I was 32 and 36. And I actually went for about 2 months, and then lo and behold, happened again. So the clock starts over again, right? So that 12 months of straight no period is what we consider to be menopause, which is really interesting because we don't really know when we're in menopause or not. But we look at the entire picture as menopause, but actually we spend a lot of time in perimenopause and then in that menopause unknown, because once we don't have a period for 12 months, then that's what's considered menopause. That could go on for 10 years. Sorry, ladies, because we could have that start and stop. And then once we're in postmenopause, that's like the day after. That's 12 months and a day. That's when we are considered to be in postmenopause. So just a little bit of background for you to understand maybe what stage of menopause you're in, because sometimes that can help kind of differentiate kind of some of those symptoms that you might be experiencing, or kind of what the heck's going on. So thank you so much for giving me those answers and engaging with me. I love it. So how do you incorporate exercise without overwhelming yourself and having to spend hours at the gym? You can save time and money. So we are going to definitely be talking about this. How do we incorporate exercise without feeling overwhelmed? Give me a 2 in the chat if you're like, yes, really want to know how not to be overwhelmed, because nobody needs to be more overwhelmed. Listening with one ear because I'm visiting with family in town from Georgia. Love it. Love family visiting. Love how you are prioritizing, getting that social time in, but also taking in this information. So awesome. Love it. And then having to spend hours at the gym. I don't want to spend hours at the gym. I don't want to help you spend hours at the gym. I really want to be able to share with you some information to help you get results that you're looking for, but not where you have to spend, days and days or weeks and weeks in the gym in order to get those results. Because again, time is very precious. Money is very precious. So we want to make sure that we're not overdoing what we're spending that time on. So what are we going to talk about today? So the number one mistake that we make when it comes to exercise in menopause, we're going to spend some time talking about that, because I think it's important to think about and really prioritize, what do we need to focus on in order to get this exercise in, right? Sometimes exercise can be seen as a negative. but we'll talk a little bit about what some of those positives that come with exercise. It's way more than just calorie burn. It's way more than just weight loss. So really helping people to understand that, we can prioritize the exercise for lots of different reasons. Yours may have nothing to do with changing your weight. There's lots of other reasons that we want to think about it. We want to talk about the 3 things that you need to do right now, in my opinion, to develop an exercise plan that lets you live the life you desire and move your body without pain. And so, I encourage you to develop a plan that works for you. I had to develop a plan that works for me. I don't like to run, for example. So if I was told that I had to run in order to be physically active or physically fit, that wouldn't work for my lifestyle. So we want to be really careful that we're not taking on somebody else's exercise plan or somebody else's plan of any kind when it comes to this lifestyle that we're living. We want to make sure that we're focused on what makes a difference for us. So running is not my thing, but strength training and doing, maybe going on bike rides and that kind of thing, that's definitely something that I enjoy. So we want to talk about what do we do in order to prioritize exercise while doing something that we really, really love and enjoy. And I promise you, ladies, it is possible. And then we're going to talk about why you can move more in menopause and it will help you to lose weight. That is one of the positive side effects of exercise, have less joint pain and improve your mood. So we really want to think about how is this going to benefit us overall, right? It is not too late. A lot of people feel like, oh, I'm XYZ age. And so there's no way that I can go ahead and do this. In my opinion, age is a number. And we have to be mindful of maybe some different changes that are going on with our body, but that does not mean that we can't fit exercise in or prioritize it in a different way. And everybody can do something, whether you're sitting in a chair doing different exercises, whether you are, walking up and down your stairs a few times a day, whatever you can do to fit in more activity is what I want to encourage you to do. Not in the no pain, no gain camp. So I don't want you to push yourself so that you're in pain all the time. But I do think that there is a way that we can incorporate activity on a very routine basis in order to get you the results that you're looking for. So we're going to dive right in and talk about that. And if you stick around till the end, I have my menopause motion magnifier. I just like that name. That's a fun name, right? So we want to stick around so that you can get even more information to help you on this menopause journey. My goal is always to serve you in the best way possible. So I want to make sure that you have information that you can take right now, today, and use that in your day to day to get you the results that you're looking for, because that's what really matters, ladies. We don't want to just get this information and think about it. We want to actually incorporate it. And that's always the goal. So, for those of you that are new, again, I am Jennifer Gilliland, and my goal is to really empower you to achieve the healthy body you're striving for. So, it really, honestly, ladies, just a little, true fact, doesn't really matter what I want for you. I want all of you because I know that you can. I know that you can incorporate exercise on a consistent basis. I know that you can really see some really great benefits from it, but it doesn't really matter what I want. Right. This is about you. So we really want to make sure that you are feeling empowered and that you have the information and the support that you need in order to put exercise into your day to day and really make it that much better of a lifestyle and that much better moving forward for you to be able to get the results that you're looking for. So again, I don't want to spend a lot of time, but just a little bit of background on me. I am 52 years old. I actually said I was 53 the other day. I'm like, what in the heck? Let's not move time any faster than it is, right? It's already July in the middle of the year, and I am not 53 until September. So we're going to hold on to 52 for just a little bit longer. I have lost 50 pounds myself, and that has been a journey over several years in order to get to the place where I am now. And I will tell you that the mental piece of that is really an interesting journey. And if you're interested, I'll be happy to talk with you about that. But it is as much a physical or sorry, an emotional journey as it is a physical journey. So when we talk about something like exercise and how to incorporate that more and more, it is more than just putting it in your schedule, right? It is a commitment and it's consistency. And that's really the difference between people that get results and people that think about results. And so we really want to really hone in on what do I need to do to be consistent and committed so that I can achieve what I want to achieve. Because this is all about you, which means that it's also something that we have to take that personal responsibility for. And I had to do that too in order to get to where I'm at this point. So when I work with clients like Tony, we're really talking about really developing a plan that works best for you and really helping you come up with that plan. So if I am always on this side of the screen saying do this and don't do that, then you don't understand or you don't get to develop your own plan. It's way less fun, right? Because who wants to be told what to do all the time? I don't. And so I don't like telling people what to do. I walk alongside with people and really develop the plan that makes sense for them. And so that's what we do. And reframing the kind of that guilt and shame that can be associated so many times with nutrition and lifestyle choices. And so exercise is a choice, right? We get to decide, is it something we want to do, or is it something that we're going to kind of keep pushing off more and more? And so hopefully after tonight, you'll understand that there is a definite advantage to incorporating more exercise, but it has to be a choice. And as soon as we make that line in the sand and say, this is something that is important to me, and this is something that I want to do, then we're going to be able to be more successful with that. We can't lose, right? When we're committed to our own goals and our own kind of challenge and we're ready to move forward with it, then we are definitely in a place where we're going to get more success because we've committed ourselves and we're going to show up, right? Because we are action takers, ladies. That's what we do. So, what is the number one mistake that women in menopause make when it comes to exercise in menopause? I don't know if anybody has any ideas, but if you want to drop that in the chat, I know sometimes when we are on things like this, there can be a little bit of a delay. So if you have an idea about what is that number one mistake that women in menopause make when it comes to exercise, feel free to drop that in the chat so I know you're still with me and we're still on the same page here. I'll give you just a few seconds to do that. Again, with the delay, I don't want to wait too long because, sometimes the technology is great, right? But sometimes there can be some little hiccups to it. So, all right, all cardio. Yep, that's a great comment. So that is one thing that is definitely a mistake. I don't know that it's the biggest mistake, but it's definitely a mistake that people make is really kind of diving into one aspect of exercise. There's a lot of different things. When we talk about exercise in general, we're talking about cardio for sure. So, walking, bike riding, swimming, those kinds of things. We're also talking about strength training. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a few minutes. And then we're also talking about stretching, maybe yoga or Pilates, things like that. Bar can even sort of be in there too. So if we're only focusing on one thing in particular, then that can be a problem because we're not looking at the big picture, right? If we're having trouble with back pain, for example, and we're not doing any stretching, then we really have to kind of work on that. I will tell you, in full disclosure, I am really great at strength training. I'm really not that great at stretching. My husband will tell you. He tells me all the time, I need to stretch more, and he's not wrong. But it is something that I haven't worked in yet. So it's something that I'm working on doing more and more of because I know the benefit of it. But even doing what I do, ladies, we are human and things happen. So there are always things that we can improve on and take a look at. So, if one of those three areas are things that you struggle with, whether it's cardio, strength, or stretching, we want to look at that too, right? So I have a lot of people that say, oh, I'm really consistent with exercise. That's awesome. But are you consistent in all three of those areas, or is it just one or two of them? And do we have to look at that second or third area? Consistency is not the biggest mistake, but it definitely is up there. Where people say, oh, I exercise all the time. And then I'm like, okay, when's the last time you exercised? Well, it's been a couple weeks because I've been out of town or I've been doing this or that. And really, exercise can be a part of what we do, no matter what our day consists of. Even if you're at a desk job and you're standing up, you're using a sit-stand desk, or you're just making sure that you're moving every hour on the hour, that can make a huge difference to our overall fitness. So we don't want to just kind of use that as the reason that we're not getting our steps in. So what is that mistake? Feeling like you need a specific plan to get started. So maybe a little simpler than what you guys were thinking. All great ideas that you shared, but really having a specific plan. So all we need to do is decide. that we're going to do something. So every one of you has something you could do right this very minute, no matter where you are. If you're at work, if you're at home, if you're on vacation, anything you're doing, take a walk. Maybe you could sit in the chair that you're in and do leg raises. You could do arm circles. You could do a number of things. Be considered getting your heart rate up and getting your exercise, getting your body moving, right? So we have to get out of our heads of having that kind of perfect plan and really just start, right? That's where that personal responsibility comes in. So a lot of times when we feel like, sorry, I went too far. When we feel like we need to have that perfect plan, that's what keeps us stuck, right? Because we're like, well, I have to have the perfect plan first before I can get started. Same thing happens with meal planning, is we're like, we have to have the perfect meal plan in order to eat healthier. I don't know about you, but I'm not really buying that. So we have to really think about what's keeping us stuck, right? Is it our own fear that we won't be able to be consistent with it? Is it because we're afraid to fail? Is it because we're afraid that we haven't been able to be consistent in the past? So how in the world are we going to be consistent now? There's a whole bunch of things that could be holding us back besides not knowing what to do, because we all know how to get on YouTube and search for some exercises. We also just know how to kind of start moving, right? So we want to take out all those excuses and all those reasons why we might not start exercising, and just do it, ladies. That is actually not just a Nike slogan. It actually is effective. So the 3 things you need to do more of right now to get your time back so you can exercise. So a lot of this is a reason, or dare I say, excuse that a lot of people use for not exercising, is they don't have time. So when we think about that, we really want to think about, how do we plan our day, right? So we all have the same 24 hours in a day. We have, I think that's 1,040 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. So we all have the same number of minutes. We can't ask for more. We don't have less. We have 1,040 minutes. And so we want to make sure that we're using that to the best of our ability. If somebody is new to exercise, or if you've been exercising for years and you have 5 minutes to exercise, what do you think I'm going to tell you? I'm going to tell you, as you all know, that you need to do something in that 5 minutes. Does not matter what you do, but when you decide that consistency in exercise is important to you, we need to show up, right? So whether that's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour, it doesn't matter. If you have told yourself, you've told your body, this is important to me, then we want to make sure that we're doing that on a very consistent basis. It really, really does matter, because every day we wait or push it off, then our brain is like, well, she wasn't really serious about that, so it's okay. We'll just wait until, how many of you have said, oh, I'm just going to wait till Monday, right? Monday keeps pushing off, right, to the next Monday and the next Monday. So we really want to be careful of that. And we want to be very clear and very consistent in, this is what time I'm going to exercise. And if it doesn't work out the way we want to exactly, we can still do something, right? So that is the first thing. We have a plan, schedule it into your day. If you are a morning exerciser, schedule it into your morning. If you are an afternoon exerciser, schedule it into your afternoon. Whatever works for you. Personally, I like to exercise in the morning because I know that if I don't, I'm not going to be exercising. It's just not going to happen, right? So I am very clear with myself about the fact that I either exercise now, or I'm just not going to be exercising. Clear with myself about the fact that I either exercise now, or I'm just not going to be exercising. Sorry. Technology, I told you, ladies, I'm not very good with it. Wanted to see if I could see. I can't see your names when how I'm doing this. So I wanted to see if I could see it on Facebook, but that wasn't very subtle, was it? Okay, so the second thing that we need to do when we're trying to get our time back when it comes to exercise is decide, what kinds of exercise do you enjoy? Like I said before, I am not a runner, so running is not my thing, right? So I am not going to be running. I am not going to be doing a marathon. You will not ever accuse me of being a person who is training for a marathon, because I am not that person. I congratulate people that do. I will stand there and cheer for you. I will bring you water. I will even, my son did a marathon and I rode my bike. It was during COVID, rode my bike and kept up with him because he was doing a solo marathon. And I'm like, you go, I'm going to ride my bike along with you, and it's going to be great. So we want to really be mindful of, what is it that we like to do? What gets us excited about exercise? Is it swimming? Is it aerobics? Is it a class? What is it that we want to kind of do? I bought 3-pound weights and a resistant band today. Brooklyn opened the car door and it fell out on the road. I had to pull over and retrieve it. The only reason that I know that that's Karen is because of Brooklyn, her daughter. But good for you for going back and getting it, Karen. That's awesome. I'm sorry that happened, but good for you for going back and getting it. Okay, so what's the third thing that's going to help us to stay on track is to make exercise a priority. So when exercise is a priority, drop a 5 in the chat for me if you prioritize things, right? You have priorities of other things that you do. If you have a job, you go to work. If you have kids, you get them to or grandkids, you get them to practices, or you feed them. You do things on a daily basis, and you make it a consistent activity, right? We can do the same thing with exercise, but we have to have it in us to actually make it consistent. It's up to us to make it consistent, because here's the thing. Love the 5. Thank you so much. Other people are not going to make it consistent for us. So we can wish that other people could exercise for us, ladies, but we are not going to get the benefit from that, right? So we have to make that a priority, and we have to make sure that we're doing that on a very consistent basis. I like a 10-minute HIIT workout. I also play pickleball every Thursday for 2 hours. Love it. I keep hearing about pickleball. I'll have to try that one day because I haven't done that, but it sounds super fun. So why is exercise so important to the menopause makeover? Because when we talk about menopause, the menopause breakthrough method, my group program in general, right? We're talking about the whole body. We're talking about our mind, our body, our soul, bringing all of those things together. And we're talking about nutrition, talking about physical activity. We're talking about sleep and stress. So we can't leave out that physical activity, because we want to really think about what are some of those things that we experience in menopause, right? One of those things might be joint pain. If you are experiencing joint pain, and we're not moving our bodies, we're going to have even more joint pain. If we're having back pain and it's something where we can do stretches that are appropriate to help alleviate the back pain, then that's one of those 3 things, right? The 3 things: cardio, strength, and stretching. If stretching is the thing that makes you feel the best right now, and we can do more stretches and kind of advance ourselves up so that we can feel great, and then maybe incorporate some more things as our back is feeling better. Everybody's situation is different. And I don't want to at all dampen if somebody is having a lot of joint pain, but I do firmly believe that there are things that we can change up about what we're doing in order to alleviate some of that joint pain, and actually in the long run to prevent some of that, right? So if we're able to get some of that physical, that muscle built around some of those joints, that can help a great deal in order to prevent the joint pain and alleviate some of those issues that we might be having. So, definitely if you need help from a physical therapist or something like that to kind of make sure that what you're doing is safe, I highly, highly recommend that. If you haven't exercised for a long period of time, it's a really great conversation to have with your doctor to make sure there's not limitations for what you can and can't do. But when we just say there's nothing I can do, I really don't believe that. I believe that there's something that we can do in order to get our bodies moving and kind of get that both physical and emotional, what's the word I'm looking for? See, brain fog, it happens. Relief from some of the things, right? So if we're doing the physical activity and we're working up, then we can definitely help. Exercise helps with joint pain. Yes, it really can. And thank you, Karen, for putting your name in there. Because you are basically, you're using the muscle, you're building up the tendons and the muscles around where your joints are. And that's helping to make sure that you're strengthening that area. Now, is it going to take away, if somebody needs a knee replacement, is it going to miraculously take away the knee pain? I'm not promising that. But what I am saying is I've seen a lot of people really recover quicker from knee surgery or hip surgery or those kinds of things when they're safely and effectively doing the exercise. So there are certainly times where we have to be mindful of what's going on. But in general, when we're starting out an exercise program, I also wouldn't tell you to then, if you're new to exercise, I wouldn't tell you to go out and run 5 miles or even walk 5 miles. We have to build up, right? So we want to be aware of what our body is willing to do in the beginning, but we can make big strides if we're willing to put in the reps and put in that consistency. And the benefits to that can be very, very great. So when we are looking at an individualized exercise plan within the menopause breakthrough method, then we're looking at how can I best benefit all of the joint pain, the hot flashes, the weight gain, the belly fat, the mood swings. There's both mental, emotional, and physical benefit that can come to from the physical or from the physical activity. So, and what does that mean? That means that we are going to be able to achieve our goals longer term, right? Because we're putting all of those pieces together and we're seeing greater benefit. We're seeing greater weight loss. We're seeing greater belly fat, we're seeing less belly fat. We're seeing less mood swings, which means that we're going to have more desire, more motivation to do the exercise, right? If we're feeling better, we have more energy, we're going to feel like we want to do more. So it's all about kind of building on those particular things. So how many of you are thinking, but I don't have time for this? Put time in the chat if time is a reason or whatever else you want to call it for not exercising. I know I've used it myself. I've been exercising for a very long time, consistently, but there are still days where I'm just like, I just don't have time for this. So you know what? Humans, we are human, and things happen, and we're not looking for perfection. It happens that we feel like we don't have time. However, I'm going to tell you a little pro tip about time. And again, time is about consistency and it's about commitment. And if you are ready to take the next step when it comes to incorporating exercise, then we want to make sure that we are actually prioritizing that we are scheduling it, that we're thinking about what kinds of exercise that we want to do, that we're perhaps having an accountability partner. Maybe we tell other people that we're going to exercise so they hold us accountable. Maybe we put it on our calendar. Maybe we block out certain things. Maybe we say no to certain, commitments. Whatever you need to do to get started, that's what we want to really focus on, because we have time for what we make time for. I know that's a little bit of a punch in the gut. I know that's a little direct, and I'm not usually that direct, but I just feel like in order to serve you in the best way possible with this information, you need to hear that. We need to prioritize ourselves and our time in order to get the results that we're looking for. I see way too many women who have these really great goals, really great. They want to lose 10 pounds. They want to lose 50 pounds. They want to, stop being angry on a consistent basis. They want to be able to play with their grandkids and not sit on the park bench and watch their grandkids play. All of those things are attainable when we put in the time and put in the reps to get to that point. So any one of you can make that happen, but we have to be willing to put in the time. And that's what the ladies in my menopause breakthrough method do, is they put in that time, they put in those reps. And what comes out of that? 30 pounds of weight loss. Maybe some of you saw the post I made the other day. 30 pounds of weight loss, 20 pounds of weight loss. Hemoglobin A1C, which is your 3-month average blood sugar, down to normal range. So went from a pre-diabetes diagnosis to no diabetes diagnosis. Better joint pain, less joint pain, less belly fat, feeling more energetic. All those kinds of things can happen. And it all starts with that commitment of prioritizing that time. So the truth is, you guys ready for the truth? If you're ready for the truth, drop truth below. Gonna wait for the truth, ladies. Somebody's gonna drop the word truth for me, right? All right. I will assume that you are all saying you are ready for the truth. Here's what's next. Thank you so much, whoever dropped that. Here's what's next. I want you to drop the word move for me. You can either do that here below the live, and I will be happy to get you that menopause magnifier guide, or menopause movement magnifier. I don't even remember the name of my own menopause movement magnifier. I want to get this to you so that you can really dig into the exercise and how do I make it a part of my daily routine. If you need help with that, please let me know. If you are struggling, post in the group. Let us support you. We are almost 1,000 people in this group, which means there's almost 999 other women that are going through what you're going through. So let's support one another, okay? If you are looking for the next step, then we really want to make sure that you are getting the help and the personalized information that you're looking for. So we can talk about that, but please put MOVE in the chat and I will be happy to get this guide to you. Any questions that anyone has about what we've talked about tonight, feel free to drop those underneath the video in the group and I'll get to those. Thank you so much, ladies, for your time and for dealing with my technical idiosyncrasies and all that kind of stuff. I really appreciate each and every one of you. I'm so honored to be able to share this information with you and so grateful that you share time with me and look forward to the next time. All right, ladies, I will see you in the group.